the exchange. Binance is only just showing me what I have in Bitcoin.
Yeah, it doesn't show you percent. They should really fix that. They should add that shit because that's such a helpful tool to have. So you don't even need to use. Like, why even? You're essentially telling your web traffic to go to another website to get this service that you could easily offer.
That's pretty true. Yeah, if they had that measuring tool on Binance, that would make life so much easier.
Yeah, all they have to do is add. They already have the data. They just need to add a field that shows percent profit. So instead of just showing the difference, like, they have all the data there. They show the amount that position is worth in your portfolio in Bitcoin. And as that changes, they just need one field. It's like adding a column to a spreadsheet. It's just beyond simple. I don't know why they wouldn't do that.
I'm not sure.
Let me make sure.
I don't think your live stream link is working.
Let me see.
And I calculated it.
No, it says I'm up.
I calculated like how much it's saying I have Ethereum and transferred that over to the dollar amount. And it all matches up.
Yeah. Maybe I need a new link. Hold on a second. What do I have? 1ILK. Yeah, I even hear myself, which I'm not supposed to. That's going to create a loop. I got to shut that off. The link I posted should be good. I only got one person watching, it says.
It's probably you. When you click your
That's
link,
funny.
it's showing up, it's just showing like the little gray exclamation point, like it's not loading.
Huh.
I don't know why. Let me exit out of everything.
Try to refresh it real quick and see. Yeah, I'm only seeing just myself watching then. Yeah, one watching. Oh, wait a minute. Never mind. I'm an asshole. It was set to private. It should be unlisted.
Okay.
I think so, at least.
Alright, yeah, now it's out.
Okay, good. Yeah, it was set to private where nobody can see it. And now it's unlisted where you just need the actual link as opposed to finding it in search or under my account or whatever. Sometimes what happens is the resolution's fucked. So you have to go to settings, quality, and then select 720 or 1080p, whatever your resolution supports.
I got you. I can handle all the resolution. It was just...
Shit. Oh, that's ETH. All right, good. What was... fuck. I fucked up my ETC chart. Hold on. I was going to say, whoa, I'm up a lot on ETC, but I got to... Hopefully it's still there. Yes, it's still there. This is my most recent play that I posted earlier with the yellow lines. Somebody was like, "Oh, I wonder if the ETC play is still going to go up." You guys got spoiled the last 24 hours. Jesus. I called it. This is my entry. This yellow line right here was my entry. For those who are new, there's a slight loop or slight delay on the YouTube stream, so you'll see it a couple seconds after. Just use Discord for voice chat, and then just know that whatever I say to you over the chat is going to be like a second or two behind on the stream. But that top yellow line, that was my entry. This was my stop. I'm still in this trade. We came back down close to the entry, really, but not that close. At this point, I may consider moving up my stop loss to my entry price, at which point it'll be a completely risk-free trade. So I got in. I had 3.6% at risk, was the most I had risked, 3.6%, with my stop loss at 13.23 and change, below both EMAs. I had actually moved this. Originally, I had it where my stop loss was even tighter, just below the 55, and it didn't include the 99. And then, like, right when it started moving, I adjusted it, so it was right at the bottom, so I had both the 55 and the 99, kind of a little above the 99. But, okay, so new members, I'm not going over it now because I want to catch up on our recent plays. This will be recorded, and you can go back and watch it later. But if you want to learn more about like my overall strategy, we'll do a separate stream for that. I just want to get caught up with everybody for the last couple days on all these great plays that we got into. But my main strategy that I call Ichima, which is a combination of Ichimoku and my EMA strategy. My EMA uses 55 and 99 hourly EMAs on the hourly chart. It only works on hourly. 55 and 99. You see this crossover? You will not find a bear trend that doesn't have the 55 EMA substantially below the 99 and vice versa. 55 on top. Once you get that cross, you're in strong bull zone territory, and the support you get off of these, people ask me why I use 55 and 99. I used 54 and 57 and 61 and 68 and 102 and 96 and 84. I've literally tried every number you can imagine on hundreds upon hundreds of charts, and the most successful is the one that I use because it's what makes me money, and that's what I show you guys. So I've done a bunch of videos on it, Ichima and my 55.99 EMA strategy. I've talked about it a ton. When I called all these plays 2 nights ago, it was as some of these weren't even really there, but I say that they're converging. When we get that EMA convergence, when they're coming together, and you have Ichimoku reversal, like ahead. So Ichimoku is a leading indicator, so this will turn green sometimes, and you're like, even when it's back here, see how it's green ahead? That's telling us that most likely we're going to get support at the top of the Ichimoku cloud. Sometimes the Ichimoku cloud is still red when we're getting this crossover here. So even though you can see out this far, sometimes my EMA strategy gives us a head start over Ichimoku, so I like to use both of them combined, hence Ichima. If you go and look at any chart, you will see insane... Look, this entire bear trend got the crossover, and this deep bear trend. Before that, we got the crossover, and look at this run up. In theory, you could trade buy when it crosses over bullishly and the 55 is on top, sell when it goes the other way and the 55 is on bottom. But if you do that, you're really giving up a ton of profit, because in reality, like, you would want to sell further up. So you actually want to look at times where the EMAs are converging or diverging. When they're diverging, going away from each other, again, this is a second behind. You'll see it on YouTube, like 1.5 seconds. It's diverging here. They're both moving up, but at different paces, because they're using a different number of periods to average out. So when it's diverging, that's when it's the strongest and most bullish. And when it's converging, that's when it's getting bearish. So even though they don't cross over until up here on August 8th at 1 p.m. on this chart, they started converging as soon as it started coming down. And that's why I use EMAs instead of regular moving averages, because EMAs are exponential moving averages, and they weigh the most recent candles. So they place an emphasis on the most recent trading. So if you get a huge green or a huge red candle, you see an almost immediate response in the EMAs that you don't see on the regular MAs. And that's the main reason why I designed it that way. Anyway, that's my main strategy. So I talk about that a lot. You'll see it. You can go watch my videos on it that are on the YouTube channel. I'll talk about dancing EMAs. This is where they're dancing. They're crossing over back and forth. It's indecisive. But then when I see another indicator that leads me to believe it's bullish, I'll say, you know what? They're dancing around right here, and the RSI is right in the middle. I don't think it's going to break out, and then it'll go down. And then they'll be dancing around at other times, and I'll say there's a strong trend on the RSI and the price action. Looks like it's going to go up, and sometimes I'm dead fucking wrong, and it goes in the complete opposite direction, which is part 2 of my strategy. Even when I'm completely fucking wrong, I don't really lose any money because I have stop losses on every single trade. So you'll notice those things. For newer members, we can do another intro live stream or watch the last one we did. I posted it publicly on Twitter, like the last hour of it, but the first 2 hours of it was just for the private group, and we went over more of this stuff. We actually did 2 in one day. The one in the morning was like 3 hours. The one at night was 3 hours. So the morning one, stream 1 from like a few days back, was the better one. That was only for premium members, and I did a lot of introductory stuff. I'll post a fresh link to that so newer members can rewatch it or watch it for the first time. So that stream is really good for all that sort of intro stuff. I went over everything. And if you guys have any questions, you're on the voice chat with me on Discord, or I'll switch back. I'll pull up Discord here and there in the private dark side only chat, and we could type in there if you want. But use your voice if you have it. You have it for a reason, so just ask me whatever you want. Interrupt me whenever you want. So those are the main ideas you'll see on any of these things that we're talking about. I just want to show you the ETC trade real quick, just because this is the only active trade I have right now. Actually, I'm still in quantum. I never got stopped out of that. Yeah, because this didn't actually start breaking out until today, or late last night. So I'm still in this trade. I erased my other chart, which had my entries and exits. It would be on. It's in Discord. I have to go find it. But I entered when we were converging, back when we were just kind of moving sideways. I entered over here because I saw the EMAs converging. And then towards the end, when I saw the RSI turn up and start to trend up, I thought we might get a breakout sooner rather than later. And then we did. And we've been moving up since, so that would put me up. I was roughly there. I have to go figure it out. I'm up like 18% on Quantum. Doesn't compare to what I did on Vet and some of the other ones, but so that and ETC are my two open trades. So long before Ichimoku was green and long before the EMAs crossed over, I already thought this was going to break out. And again, this was my one trade that didn't break out until everything broke out today. So even if the naysayers on Twitter are right, I'm still 4 for 5 that I called 2 nights ago before any of this shit was going green. We actually got like an initial move up on some of them before I called it, but not really. Like it was, for those who were here live, it was pretty baller. Like it was fun as fuck. Doing that was awesome. Like I had spec'd out, like at one point I was like, you guys like the ETC trade, wait till you see Vet. I said that 7 hours before it did this. That was really fun. So being able to do that shit live, like I got out up here, and since then I got out up here. I got stopped out because I move up my stop losses. I have trailing stops. I got back in, and then again got stopped out up top. The second trade I made 7%. The first one I made 50%. Together that's 48%. When you do the math and actually add up how much I had in there. And since then, it's done all this. So, like, that's what annoys me. The guys on Twitter, I'm like, guys, if I really wanted to make it sound like I'm some genius that I'm not, I would have just said that I wrote it all the way to up here. But I didn't. I sold out down here. And I don't care. That does not bother me. I lost out on another 50% if I wanted to say, like, oh, I got up, I wrote it all the way up to here. But I didn't. It's not true, and I don't lie. So that extra 34.15%, I didn't make that, and that's totally fine. I don't regret anything. This was my trade down here. I made 48% in an hour after it started breaking out. There's not a person on the planet that would complain about that. But I want to run through some of these plays and show you guys why I spotted them before anything was moving up and everything. For those who weren't here live, so we can go over that as well. We'll keep an eye on ETC and Quantum because those are my two open trades. I don't have, again, the long on here. I can just stick one at like the rough spot since I bought it in the middle of this range. I moved my stop loss up on here though, so I'm going to do a second one. Because I'm 100% risk-free on here now. It's closer to up there. I should actually move my stop loss up again, so let's do that real quick. I got to find a support. When I move my stop losses up incrementally, like right here, you can see we dip back down and a little wick came down on Quantum right here at 4 o'clock on the 17th today, and then came back. This also wicked out down there. That was the bottom of this candle. This region right here is a strong support just from looking at that. Then when you come back and you see all this trading right here, candle, 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 candle. This was ranging in that area, but ever since we broke out from this point and went down and came back up, even from this point here, that's been a solid support. Very, very, very solid. So let me draw the line so you can see what I'm seeing. I saw over here that it was ranging around there, but right here I saw 1, 2, 3, 4. These are hourlies, so if you dive down and you see an hourly candle that's wicking out to that exact price, if you dive down to 15-minute charts, you're out of the 4, there might be 2 or 3 that are wicking out at that price. And these are hourly going and wicking out at that price. So it's always possible there could be even more trading there than you realize. This didn't get quite as far. Again, another wick. 2 main candle bodies, a third one with a wick at the exact spot. 1, 2, 3, and then a couple that got pretty close. And then this, down, boom, boom, bounced off of there. You guys see that, right? Is that not a hard-on inducing support resistance line right there? With that,
it's pretty hard to,
yeah,
pretty hard to beat that support
exactly.
And resistance line.
Yep. So that level of support resistance is when I see it like that, that's when I write on my charts. You'll see sometimes I'll say major support or major resistance. I have to see something like that where I'm like, holy shit, dude, 1, 2, 3, there's like 8 hourly candles that are bouncing right off of that line. And from this point forward, over here, it was ranging, like I said. From this point forward, nothing broke it at all. If I made this line a little thinner, you'd see a couple of these candles, if you zoom in, got a little bit like towards the top of this line. It's just really thick. But still, I mean, that's amazing, amazingly strong. So that's my target. I'm going to place my stop loss 0.5% underneath there. So my stop loss is going up. With this tool, this is the long tool on TradingView over here. So there's long position, short position, depending on what you're doing. This is the long position. And that's every time you see the red and the green. It's really easy because it's just one click. You just go click here. The middle is your entry, the bottom is your stop loss, and the top is your target. That's all it takes. So if you say, like, my target's up here, I think I'm going to make 20%. My stop loss is down here. I might risk 3.5%, no more. Your risk to reward ratio is 5.5, because 19.6 divided by 3.5 is 5.5. So that's your risk reward ratio. Mine is almost always 3 at an absolute minimum. Like if I'm risking 3%, I'm expecting a bare minimum of a 9% gain, but I usually get a lot more than that. I'm 9%. I don't like to be greedy, but that's 9% still pretty damn good for only risking 3%. That's still a 3-to-1 risk to reward, you know. Somebody made you a bet and said, I bet you on the Super Bowl I'll give you 3-to-1 odds, and it was pretty much a 50-50 bet. You'd be an idiot not to take it because you're going to make 3 times your money and it's a 50-50 bet. In this case, the odds are in your favor if you do the right research, so it's better than a 50-50 bet. It's like in your favor, and you have a risk to reward that's greater than 1, meaning you're going to make more than you risk. It's crazy not to take that. And then since I have a stop loss on everything, for newer members who haven't heard me say this a billion times, if every single thing in the market, Bitcoin and everything included, crashed 80% right now, I would lose like $1,200. If everything goes up 40%, I'd make like 20 grand. Because I have a stop loss on everything. The most I could possibly lose is like 3% of my portfolio at a given point in time. And right now I don't even have that much in the market. So even if everything dove, I would only lose on like 3 positions. And each one would be like a few $100. But if I make money on those positions like we're doing on these, it's big money. And right here, I bought originally back here. So this has already been a risk-free trade. The major support that I targeted was my entry price, and I moved my stop loss up to my entry. It became a risk-free trade. I couldn't lose money. It took, for that initial breakout, I moved up my stop loss, and then no matter how much it goes down, I can't lose because my starting price is my new stop loss price. Now, because I have such a strong support here, I'm moving my new price, my new stop loss up to here, where my stop loss is going to be very tight, a little less than 1%. I'll call it like 0.9%, just in case there's a little wick, like that one first wick. I can't hold a mouse on it without it making this highlight, but this first candle, the first red candle, or the second one rather, dipped down a tiny bit into that stop loss region. So I want to place my actual stop loss like a little less than 1% below that support. So even if it dipped down and then bounced really hard up, I have a very strong support there. So unless it breaks through that support, I'm pretty sure it's going to bounce and keep going up. If it does come down and it bounces through that support, well, I'll get stopped out, but I'm up 7%. So I can live with 7% considering I have a zero risk trade right now. There's no way I could possibly lose money. So as long as you master that stop loss strategy, which isn't necessarily something you have to master, it's pretty fucking simple. Anybody can do it. I don't need to teach you anything other than tell you what to do, which is use stop losses on everything. The only thing is with stop losses, there's like a little bit of skill where you have to know where to place them. Well, that's a big skill. Knowing the supports and finding that, which I've already showed you an example on this, that requires skill because you need to understand those support and resistance. That's why you've seen me tweet and talk about it on the group. Before you learn anything else, support and resistance is the most important thing you can learn. Before you learn Elliott Wave, Ichimoku Clouds, Bollinger Bands, I don't care. Anything. Support and resistance, and this is why. Perfect example. I'm risk-free. I made 7% no matter what. If it goes up another 12%, I could log in another 12%. In fact, looking at this chart, I might split it up and put 50-50 because I'm seeing a support here that's not quite as strong. But I spotted this candle on the left side, this red candle, got rejected right here. So then I take that and I'm looking across, all right, do I see any other trending at that same line? And I see all these candle bodies, even though the wicks went past, the bodies of the candle, a majority of the trading at that point was contained, other than a few extreme orders to this region. I see the same thing here, candle body with a tiny wick, candle body with a tiny wick. It's a pretty strong support. Not as strong as the bottom one, but that's a pretty good support. So I'd say we actually have 2 decent supports right there. We have this at 490, and then a really strong one down at 470. So I'm actually going to put you guys on pause for a minute because I just showed you this. I showed you my order here, then I never put it in. So let me do that. I'm going to split this up. I'm going to put 50% of my order with a stop loss at this support and 50% with a stop loss at this support. That way, if it drops down and bounces above here, I won't get stopped out on anything. But if it comes down, say this is 1, 2, 3, so that means this should be a 1, 2, 3. This is the end of wave 3, subwave. Actually, no, that would be the bottom. So the wave count would be 1, 2. This is middle of wave 3. It could be subwave 2 of wave 3. I don't know how far we're going to correct here. So I'm going to put, we might bounce off right off of here and then go up. We might bounce off a slight bit lower, and then I can get stopped out of my top stop loss, but still have my bottom position in, which at that point is all profit. It's like I got stopped out here, and I had such a nice profit on that. That pretty much covers most of my initial investment. Actually, that would only be 11%. It's still pretty good. I'm not going to complain about 11% because the rest is risk-free anyway. So if I get stopped out of everything, it's 11% profit on 50% of my position, 7% profit on the other 50% of my position. No regrets. Can't complain. So yeah, I'm going to do that. Let me place those really quick. And this top one is going to be about 1%, same thing. I'm going to leave myself a little bit of breathing room, especially since this top support's not as strong. I'm going to give myself 1% below that support line I drew at 489. Not exactly, but roughly 484.8. I don't tell everybody my exact stop losses because if we compete at the same one, we're going to fuck with each other. And your order's going to fill and mine's not. There's not going to be enough liquidity to fill everybody. You want your own stop loss. You don't want to share it with anybody else. Let me place these orders real quick. But now you've seen live what I'm doing on this. Both these trades, guaranteed profit. Can't possibly take a loss. It's just a function of how much profit I lock in. All right, give me a couple of minutes. I got to place these. And I'm going to have to refill my vape. Josh, you dick. You posted my fucking... I got to send that to him. One sec. Okay, I'm good on one, and... I'm just taunting other members if you guys get alerts. I like to give everybody shit when they're not here, because then everybody complains. People are in different time zones, and these are recorded, so they'll go and watch them back. And I try not to do 6-hour-long streams, not only because my wife hates me and I never come to bed, but also a lot of people are like, dude, I can't sit there and skip through 6 hours. So I would do a stream and I'd like eat dinner during it. Like I would essentially just live stream all day and talk about shit with you guys. I'm trying to keep it more on topic now. So anyway, you could watch it back. A lot of people aren't here because they just watch it back, but different time zones and stuff. But people who are up, I try to get everybody in here. So I give everybody shit and say, come on, you fucking douchebags, get in here. I don't have a filter in case you guys didn't know that. I offered one of you guys a hand job earlier. No, maybe I offered a blowjob. I don't remember. It happens so frequently, I don't even remember these sorts of things. Alright, let's go. I'm good. Alright, we'll see what happens with this red candle. I bet it doesn't break my first support. It may. It won't break my second. And if it does, the thing is fucking toast. This thing is done. If it breaks through the bottom support, the only thing left holding it are the EMAs, and I don't know if they will at that point, because that's some real downward action right there. And I'm fine with getting stopped out and then having it bounce up, right? Just like what happened with Vet and all the other trades. If I get stopped out of both, and I happen to be wrong, and it goes past both supports and then skyrockets, I'm fine with that. I made a profit. No regrets. I made the best play I could with the data that was available to me, and I don't regret anything. There's not a person out there that could have come up with a better analysis of this chart based off this support. There's no asshole out there who would have been like, well, there's really a better support. Sorry, no way. There's like 12 hourly candles that are smashing into the support and getting massively rejected. There is not a single analyst in this game who would show me a better support on this chart than that. So that's where I'm placing my stop loss. And if I get stopped out, I get stopped out. We'll come back and take a look at Quantum in a few, see what's happening with that. The beauty of this strategy, too, is you don't really care. Like, I care. I want to lock in profit. So if it goes up a lot, I want to be able to move up my stop loss, especially that first time. Because going risk-free is the most important part of what I do. That's my whole thing, is mitigating risk. So I always want to move up my stop loss initially, because I want to be able to be risk-free, and then I can go to sleep and not worry about it. At that point, if I go to sleep and it goes up, and it comes down and it stops me out, I didn't lose any money, so I'm not mad. I have no regrets, but if I'm up and I'm watching it, I'm going to pay attention. If I'm awake, I'm going to pay attention to the charts, because I'm going to want to move up that stop loss the second I see another support. Right here, I'm spotting a support on ETC already. And again, you'll notice these with the naked eye too, which is your eye just sort of fills it in. Plus, you move the thing around the chart. You see the crosshair on the screen, the left, right, up, down, XY axis lines. Just moving that around, you'll see it. This one was easy to spot because it's a little red line going across now, right where the price is. It's hovering right at that level. This is one of those supports or resistances. In this case, a support because we're above it and it's holding us up. It's not super strong. There are a couple candles in a row right there. I love hourly charts because you'll see wicks that go up, and then when you break it down, you'll see like it really traded right around here and barely spiked up there. So it's a little more forgiving. I kind of let myself omit wicks here and there when some analysts wouldn't. I don't care. It's whatever works for you. If you guys say you ignore all wicks and it works well, go ahead and do it. I personally don't agree with that. You need to include most of them. But when there's crazy irrational trading that's not natural and organic, you know that was a pump group or something like that, you have to be able to just say, fuck that wick. Like if you're the type of guy who's like, nope, you got to include every wick, you're never going to get into trade in crypto because everything has been manipulated at some point, and there's some ridiculous injection of volume that's 5 times this level. It's all the way up here. Doesn't make any sense. If you let that destroy your Elliott wave count, you're never going to get into a trade. You need to have some leeway, and it's whatever works for you. I don't say you have to read the textbook and do everything it says. This is how it's done. I've been in stocks for all these years. Fuck you, dude. I don't care how long you've been trading. I make more money than you, so fuck you. Anyway, that's my spiel on that. But yeah, I see a good range here. So right where the price currently is, this candle, this wick went a little bit north of that, but not really. Everything else got rejected a little south. This is more of a range where sometimes you'll get ranges. Like if I keep my mouse here and you look at where that red line is, the current price, my current mouse location, there's also a lot of trading right in that range where there's a bunch of coins getting, a bunch of hourlies getting rejected, or the candle body, like the big green one. The body of the candle stops right where that dotted line is, and over on the left side of the screen over here, there's a couple candles that go right there and get rejected. These candles over here all ranged right from the dotted line to the other red dotted line on top. So right in that range is where all that trading is. So I wouldn't say that this is a strong support and the current price, the red line, is a strong support. I'd say they're both moderate supports that form a strong support range, where I'd be confident that it would probably hold above this range. Right now, it's just up too little. I can't move my stop loss up to my entry. It's too probable that it might dip down below that range and stop me out prematurely and bounce off the EMAs. The EMAs, again, when I talk about dynamic supports, my model is based around these dynamic supports. So over here, you'll see the 55-hour EMA, massive rejections, not even a question on the movement. And then once you get above it, it provides a ton of support, both the 55 and the 99. So over here, you can see great supports off of my EMAs. And then after those, if those get broken through, then the Ichimoku clouds provide a ton of support. So you always really have 4 dynamic EMAs that are never going to be as strong as a straight line that has bounces at every location. Like right here, there's a ton of candles right at this range where it's bouncing. Or sometimes you find things that it's more of a ranging situation, like we just talked about. Like right over here is a really good one, from here to here. But those dynamic EMAs, dynamic because they move around a lot, are great, because you're going to get, you might bounce twice, and then the third time you break through it, but usually you're going to get some pretty good support. I mean, even here, it broke through the 55 and then got rejected off the 99. And then it broke through the 55 again and got rejected off the 99. It wasn't until it bounced off the 55, the third attempt, it bounced through the 99. So those dynamic supports are key. Sometimes you get wicks, like this long one here that went through both of them, and that would have stopped me out at that point if I was in that trade at that time. I wouldn't have cared because, my average is what it is. But in any case, so I'm not ready to move it up yet on ETC, so I'm going to wait and come back and see where that is in a little bit. Another hourly candle, we'll see where we stand. The quantum candle hasn't made its decision. My orders are placed, ready to go. I'm protected. Can't take a loss. I can only make money. Give that some time. Anybody have a question about those 2 plays? And then we'll move on to some of the ones from 2 nights ago. I know you guys are curious how the hell I pulled that off. Half of it was luck, but we'll get to that. No? No questions. Okay. Anything I glossed over that you might want me to elaborate on more? I'm not looking at YouTube chat if anybody's typing in that. I don't know if anybody is. Oh, Winnie is. Winnie, you're the only one who does. Can you do that again? Focus. I don't have YouTube up. I just get my charts on my right display and Discord on my left. So just use the private chat. I mean, I guess if you can tell me on the voice channel, hey, check YouTube, then I will. And it'd be kind of cool to have it here so people who watch it back. If you do chat on a live stream when you're watching it back, can you even see it on YouTube? I don't know if you can. I won't do list yet, because I want to go through our plays first that we actually played. It's more important. We could... Fuck it. Alright, we'll do it real quick. Dick. Always got to cause problem. Lisk and what?
Who is that asking for a list? Is that Winnie?
Yeah. He's the only asshole I would let take me off topic.
Yeah, he's disappointed that it didn't work out anyway.
Huh?
He seems pretty disappointed that it didn't work out anyway.
What didn't work out about that? Where did he buy it?
I'm pretty sure earlier he said it wasn't working. Did he not?
I was running around all day in Boston, so I told you guys I was super busy, but so I wasn't in the chat a lot of the day. Winnie, are you there? I'll move on to other shit, and then if you come back, we'll talk about it. I'll look at it. But I need to know what you want to look at. Why that one didn't break to the upside from where? It's breaking up right now. If you bought it right here, you're up. If you bought it right here, you're up. If you bought it anywhere over here, you're up. And if you bought it down here, you're a fucking rock star. So I don't know what is not good about Lisk. It bounced off of a support. All the candle bodies are right here. The wicks came down lower and higher, but all the bodies of the candle, a majority of trading on hourlies, was right here. It bounced right off of that support. If I saw this, if I was watching and paying attention earlier, and I saw this chart, if you pointed it out to me, I 100% would have gotten in right at this line right here, and I wouldn't have gotten stopped out on this wick anyway, even if I was in there, because that's not nearly far enough. 2.24, I would have, no, that's not even, that's like 1.8%. I would have had a 3% stop loss here. I'd be more than safe. If I saw this chart with that support that I just showed you, this line right here, after these two bounces and then this started doing it, I would have entered anywhere over the last 3 hours. And I would have had a 3% stop loss to start, roughly. Just call it 3%. I might have taken on... no, I wouldn't have wanted to go all the way down to the EMAs. That's just way too much risk. I can't do 4 and change, but I would have been up 6.5% already. So what didn't happen? At the left, Lisk went 3% down when everything was up. Where? Like over here? Like this dip down? I mean, it goes up and down, right? So just because everything else is going up doesn't mean this will. When I called all the plays I was bragging about for the guys who were here 2 nights ago, nothing in the market was going. Nothing was green. That tweet I posted when I was like, said like, sorry, I don't mean to brag, but this is getting crazy. That's why when I was, people were giving me a hard time today, saying like, well, everybody's a genius in a bull market. I had reposted one of my tweets, and I'm like, show me some timestamps, asshole, when I wasn't ahead of this thing 100%. Here, this one. I was like, sorry, I don't want to be a show-off. This guy. This was Binance at the time. My Knowles trade hadn't performed that well yet. It was still doing well because it was down so much that down only 0.34% is actually really good because it was down like 8%, 12% with everything else. So I had VET, ONT, ETC, and Knowles, which were the 4 top coins on Binance. And when I called them, everything was red. And then they broke out, and I had VET, ONT, and ETC solid green. And then Knowles was really damn close to being green, and Quantum was the only one left that didn't break out till today with everything else, which I admitted. I'm not saying, okay, so I said I went 5 for 5, great. I went 4 for 5, and the 5th one was on the breakout, if you want to say that, even though I called it a day prior. So just because everything's not going to go up at the same time, so don't think that because the market's running up and all the alts are up, you could just buy anything and it's going to go up the same amount. Every chart is its own. It just so happens that the charts were in a similar spot then. So if all of the charts show really low RSI and they all look like they're about to blow, they will. They might do that together. Chances are, if the alts are going on a run and people are buying up all these alts and the charts are saying it so, chances are they'll run together, but it doesn't have to be perfect. And if you look at Lisk, it actually was a good trade. You got into a good trade, and it's still a good trade right now. It's... It never dipped. This wick right here, rejected. This wick, rejected. The body. All these candles rejecting right off of this point. If it wasn't already up 6%, I would probably buy this right now. But it's up a little high, and it's getting right to a point where that's a support, which will become a resistance, but that's kind of a minor one. I don't really see any major resistance other than the top. I'd have to go back in time. And I'm going back quite a bit because this is an hourly chart. So this is like a month ago. That being said, there actually is some major resistance right here. Maxed out, rejected right here. And look at the green line below my dotted line. That's the current price. So you're coming up on a major resistance. I wouldn't enter this trade now because of that dotted line, that resistance. Actually, not only do you have this major rejection, you got a little one over here. And then if you zoom in, you can even see all the way on the left, right here, ranging, right there, support. So there's, and right here, rejected. This is a strong support resistance at 62.92 sats. 62.90, call it, that general 5 sat range on Lisk. That's a strong resistance. And you're coming up on that right now. So I would have looked at that, and right now I wouldn't get into this trade because of that. Down here, I probably would have, because I could have eked out a solid 8-9% probably without risking more than a couple. Let me just check. That's right here. So we broke through that major resistance, though, already today, which is a good sign. But 62.90 around. It's like right over here somewhere. Yeah, we did. You could even see here that same line. Right now we just wicked up and pretty much touched that line a tiny bit below and got rejected. So we're already, even though we broke through over here, we came back down, and that line's still valid. This wick right here shows it. It was 62.90, around there. So we had 2 wicks right here to the left of my mouse. The one green one to the right broke through a little bit. The main run on the left powered through, and that was pure momentum from all that buying. Now we're back below it. Buying's calmed down. We don't have a big mountain of volume anymore. It's going to be tough to break through. It might come back through this line, but it's going to be tough. So I wouldn't enter that trade here because of this resistance. It's a little late. At the beginning of this move, it probably wouldn't have been a bad trade. When you got in, it probably wasn't a bad trade. But you have to look at the charts by themselves, and don't just think that because all the other ones are breaking out that this one's going to. That makes sense? Explain that well? I don't care that you sound like a gay Dutch dude. Just speak on the voice chat. It's easier than waiting for your ass to type. I know you love cock. It's fine. All right, good. Happy to help.
Another thing to point out too is that it's at if you go to like previous support resistance zones, like for prior tops, it's right at a 50% retraced back, and then also 61.5.
You mean on this run up or the last drop down?
Last drop down.
Oh, that's way back. Yeah.
If you go way back to the last, I don't know, I'll call them like the last shelf.
So, yeah, well, you know how I do, like, multiple fibs. Newer people, You'd have to watch the last video. I talked about it quite a bit, where, like, we do this a lot. But if you watch the last...
Not that one, but the one before that and the one before that, the previous top. So
okay.
The shelf up from there.
For newer people, just so you know, I look for confluence. I'll do, like, multiple fib retracements and look for areas where multiple lines, like this one's super strong, this 0.5. I bet that 0.5 is probably like the 236 if I do the retracement from here, are pretty damn close. So you had 2 tops there, so that was pretty close. So yeah, the 236 it's pretty close. I was hoping I was gonna have it like right on top and be like, oh, I'm the man, I called that, but I was just guessing. I would have thought that they'd be really close because that's such a strong line.
Go from the shelf. But if you go from the shelf, like right where it tried to...
You mean the major one on the left up here?
No, down. Like down from the prior top. Like the shelf that's right below it. Not that one, down.
I don't really have any on the hourly.
So
that's where I started it from.
The shelf. You see where it flattened out after the previous top where you drew your other fib from?
Oh, that really flat line right there?
No, down. They're really flat one before it really fell. Further down.
Oh, that's all the way over here.
Yeah, draw it from that shelf.
Oh.
Draw it from that shelf.
Didn't I do one? No, never mind. Okay, that one was... I'll just move this one down then. That's easier.
And you see how it's right there. So it's 61.8. It kind of shot through that right up to 65%, which is like the stop runner.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah, this one, so yeah, this top here actually, so I was looking at this, it shot through that one, but this one right here, this prior top, is exactly where this one broke up to. So this line, right, that breakout when I was like, this broke through that resistance, this one major breakout, just on pure momentum, that broke out, if you actually follow that back, there was, again, that was a different spot. So there was this one and this one. So there's actually two. The one that it's currently at, a little bit below, that it's wicked up to a few times, that's the 786. So see this 786? Bam, 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 bam. That's the one that I highlighted where I said, oh, even over here, it dipped down. It was a support. Over here, rejected, rejected, is exactly the 786 of that retracement. And then the top of that retracement where I started it from, these tops, 1 and 2, is the top of that main. Let me erase this other one, because this is a perfect retracement right here. This is, I showed you before. And then if you go up to the next level up where it was a little higher before it dropped down, again, strong point, 1, 2 rejections at that same point, and then bam, we ran up with all that momentum and got rejected right at that exact same level where those two touched. So this is a perfect example for Fibonacci. One of the best I've ever seen, actually. Look at this. The 618, all this support right at that 618. The 0.5, all these rejections right at that 0.5. Support bounced right off the 382. Good call. This is like, not that 236 doesn't really show anything, but everything above that, this is one of like the best examples I've ever seen of a good Fibonacci retracement that's able to model very, very accurately your support and resistance. Just look at this. Every like trading range is bam, 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 bam. That's insane. Look at that. Down here, bounce off of that, and then it broke through. And then, like I said, the 236 doesn't really show us much. Then we got back up here again. Bam, rejected off the 0.5. Ranged around the 382. And then it went all the way up to the prior top that it had before where I started the retracement. And then it broke through the 786 and bam, right off the 618 and shot right back up. And then came back down off the 786 to the 618. That's perfect. This 786 and 618 right here are two of the strongest fib ranges I've ever seen. Look at this. Off the bottom, off the top, off the bottom, off the top, off the bottom. Broke through, came back down, off the bottom, off the top, off the bottom. And now it's going up to the top, just got rejected. Although it didn't quite make it to the 786. We can't all be perfect. That's pretty fucking close. That's impressive. Everybody see that? Anybody have any questions? If you have a question about Fibonacci, this is the perfect chart to ask on because that's a perfect example.
Yeah, what's crazy too is like for some of the alts, not Bitcoin, but some of the alts, like you have to draw it off of multiple areas until you find where the confluence is because some of the peaks are. I mean, it ain't the peak that matters.
Correct. That's why I'm obsessed. That's why I love doing it. People who use Fibonacci see it at first, like, what the hell are you doing? I'm like, dude, you gotta trust me. Just try different retrace, start at different levels till you find the right one, and look for confluence of multiple fib retracements, and you're gonna be amazed when you find two solid retracements where the strongest. I bet there's other places we could do this retracement from that would have lines that meet up right at the 786 and 618 because that's so goddamn strong. I mean, even here, like when it was still kind of going super, just blasting through everything, it was still catching resistance right at those levels. Oh, good. I didn't have any porn on there or anything. Sweet.
Almost wonder if some of the bots that these guys are using, like the
they do
trade accounts,
100%. They use Fibonacci.
But if they're picking their ranges based on the highest volume areas or previous peaks, and I think they make different choices for different coins. Like sometimes the shelves, like where you see the price most stable at from previous, not tops, but like where it kind of went sideways for a while, then dropped.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's from there, and then sometimes it's from the peak, though. Right? So it might shoot up, do like a middle finger kind of looking pattern.
Yeah, well, that's why you want to do multiple retracements, because you want to,
Exactly.
So that's why I wasn't looking at that level. The list also has a ton of them. So, like, if you look, I originally drew that from here down, because I just hadn't spotted it yet. If I kept looking at it, I would have eventually noticed it. Where this spiked up was exactly where these prior ones got rejected. Exactly. So once I noticed that, once my eye caught that, I wouldn't have noticed it at first. But yeah, and as you look through these things, like, that's not going to happen here because there's nothing else to compare it to. But if you had some huge dip over here that went all the way down to right here and then shot up, your eye would catch it right here, and then all this over here, all that support, you just sort of like fill that in and notice it. And the more you do it, the more you notice it. But yeah, it's really important to draw from different levels. That's a perfect example. I love that. I just saved it as, I don't know if you saw it, I saved it as perfect fib example because I'm going to use that at some point to teach people because that's such an excellent range. Right between two main 618, which is golden ratio, and 786, and everything's bouncing between there. That couldn't be more perfect as an example. But this is also why I wouldn't get into list now, even though it is moving up nicely. And if I got in where I said down there, I'd be up a little bit. Looking at it, pulled out a little bit, even though everything's on like a super run right now. If there's this much resistance, just find a different play. Like, don't be afraid to walk away from a play. I will find a play that I love. I think it's going to break out, and then somebody in the group would be like, "Oh, did you notice this? Something that I didn't pick up on." And luckily, because I share my plays with everybody, other people in the group might notice something that I didn't catch, and I'm like, I'm going to walk away from that, even though I really like it. And it might end up going up. I don't care. I have no regrets. I don't give a shit. I made the best decision that I could for my own risk tolerance, and I wasn't willing to take a risk on that play because of something I spotted or somebody else spotted. It's just better to play it safe. This whole thing, to be successful in this, is all about risk mitigation, and that's what I teach. If you limit your risk, you can do well. If you take unnecessary risks, you're going to lose money. If you go to a casino and gamble, you're going to lose money. The odds are against you. You're almost always going to lose money. You're never going to win the lottery. It's just not going to happen. The odds are stacked against you. If you can somehow work the odds so they're in your favor, that's the way to win. So people who call this gambling, my wife's like, it's just gambling. I'm like, yeah, I don't know. I'm pretty fucking good at it. And you can mitigate risk to an extent where the odds are not against you. The odds are substantially in your favor. And I don't have a figure. I can't tell you like my odds are like 80-20, but they're got to be up there because I don't lose money pretty much ever. I'll lose like $100 or $50 or $20 on a trade because I'll get stopped out at like -2, -3, -4%. Keep in mind, like $1,000 on a trade, if you lose 2.5 or 3% because you get stopped out, that's $30. So for me to lose $100, I need to have at least $3,000 on a trade because I usually don't have more than like 3%, maybe 4% risk. So that means I'm risking $3,000 and I lose $100. But look at what happened when these broke up. If I had $3,000 in vet, which I did, then I made $1,500 off it. $1,500 in an hour and a half, just off vet. That doesn't include nulls, ONT, ETC, quantum, all the other things that have gone up that I was in the last couple days. And if I kept vet,
how high it went afterwards.
That's what I'm saying. If I actually didn't sell when I did, I got stopped out. I walked away. My philosophy, no regrets, right? All that crap. If I stayed in vet, if I got into it again after I got stopped out and set my stop loss to risk another 3%, I was going to sleep. Otherwise, I would have. It was 7 o'clock in the morning. We had been trading all night. I'd been in the group active all night. I went up to bed. The sun was out. And I went to sleep and slept all day. If I was staying up and trading and I got back into that, I could have potentially made like $3,000 without ever risking more than $100. That's insane. If you can mitigate risk to that level, then sometimes you'll lose. Sometimes I lose. I lose $30, $50, $80, $100. But when I win, I'm making a couple $1,000, or at the very least, like $500. So risk. That's it. Risk. Work on mitigating risk. If there's something you don't understand, keep your money in tether. Miss all the plays. Who gives a shit? Just don't risk your capital, because once you lose it, you can't ever get it back. And then work on paper trading and practice.
Yeah, I missed out on that a little bit, but like still what I do, and I'm not sure about your plays, I put a little bit in. So I put like a few $100s into that.
Yeah.
And that worked out. That was nice. Remember, because I was like, I'm going to watch a movie. I don't know what the fuck's going on here.
Right.
Yeah, that was nice. Nothing had even really moved yet, and I specifically looked at vet, and if you remember the chart I posted that I just showed you guys, where it wasn't necessarily I wasn't saying, guys, you think ETC was good, wait till you see vet. I wasn't saying that because I thought that it was going to break out any more than the others. I thought all these trades looked really good, but where's drew me to it, where I was like, guys, you think that was a nice play. You thought ETC was a good play. Vet is the play. And that was 9 o'clock on the 15th. It didn't even begin to, like, there was no breakout at all. That's why I said to people who were talking shit on Twitter, everybody's a genius in a bull run. Go look at my timestamps, dick. Because this was 2 days ago, before anything moved up. And this thing utterly exploded. And I didn't know that it was going to explode. And I don't try to make that argument like, oh, I knew it was going to do that. Because sometimes there's just news that comes out that helps you get listed on an exchange. And it matches up with the TA. That's how I always talk about that. It's amazing. You guys notice that? Like, ETC was about to break out. And then Coinbase made their announcement. It just happens that way. It just naturally happens that way. When there's so much data, they just start to merge together. Whether it's FA and TA, it just does. And the charts come to that point. It just so happens to work out that way. I know it's weird and you can't explain it to an extent, and it's easy to dismiss, but it's not, because it happens all the time. So part of it was luck. I didn't know it was going to break out to that level. What I did know is that the TA was telling me we were sitting on the support. We were getting great support from the 55. I knew that we were most likely going to move up on BTC, which I was very adamant about and also publicly called on Twitter. And the reason I said why vet is the play is because all these little runs that took a few hours, 5, 6, 7 hours, were 30%, 20%, 25%. No other coin is like that. Any other coin I was calling at the time, ONT, Nulls, ETC, none of them had 30-hour runs over 5 hours that often. And then this drop over 24 hours was like 60%. Massive moves on this coin. So I knew if it broke out and if it broke down, I'd get stopped out and lose 3%, so be it. But if it did break up and I was right about that call, then I would make fuck you money, and I did. And that's why I'm allowed to go post whatever I want and say fuck you to any troll, because I have the proof here. It's on Twitter, public record. That's why I like tweeting stuff. Even though I like keeping most of the stuff close to the vest for you guys in the group, I don't post all the charts on Twitter. I'll just be like, guys, check out vet. I don't show them the chart that I showed you guys with my exact entry, which was over here, using that long tool. My entry was right here. We dipped down at one point. If that happened again, it would have been pretty close to stopping me out, but it didn't. I had posted...
It's all good, homie. You gotta market yourself, too, you know?
Yeah, exactly, But no, I like to keep everything through. I keep a lot. I don't share that much.
Share a little bit. We need, more members so you can fucking do more of this shit.
Yep. This was funny.
Right now.
I know. This was great. Look at this. This was 3:20, and I stayed up doing this for like another 3 hours after that. I posted a picture because I was typing, I can't keep my eyes open. Do you think it's related to, and I was writing this joke, do you think it's related to my average 2.4 hours of sleep I get per night doing crypto? But I fell asleep and I just woke up to the beginning. I can't keep my eyes open. Do you think it's related to? No. I had to post that screenshot. That was hilarious. That was perfect. I actually, this was after I deleted it. It went down like for 10 pages. I was at like negative 250 characters or something. I don't even know. That was really funny. And I didn't post it in here. I posted it in the group. Oh no, I did. I posted it to the group to Twitter much later, where in the group, one of the guys, I forgot which one of you guys it was breaking my balls because I was like, I got in here on Nulls, and then it was dipping down here, and he was like, Nulls play isn't looking so hot, Vader. And I'm like, all right, well, it's not really breaking out yet. Let's give it a second. And sure enough, we bounced right there. That was the bottom of the dip, and that was my stop loss. So if you can place your stop loss as well, it might look like you're about to get stopped out, and next thing you know, it goes on a massive run, and then you get to say, look how sick I placed my stop loss. You get to brag about that because that's perfect, It doesn't always work out that way, but... in that particular instance, I was right about all the TA on all the coins. And even though this hadn't started moving up yet either, it was still moving down. Everything was moving down when I came up with all those trades. And again, a lot of it was luck. The market went crazy, but I told everybody, like, certain stuff that you do have in your control. I didn't have the entire market in my control. I didn't know we were going to go on a 2-day alt run. What I did know is that if that did break up, like my TA was saying it probably would, it would be a substantial breakout worth minimum of like 15%. And obviously it far exceeded our expectations. I think it's up like 80% now. Jesus, every time I do this and I switch to vet, I have to zoom out because it's just off the screen again. If that tells you anything. Okay, it came back down a little bit. So yeah, after all these, that move up, and after this correction, that's when I had originally gotten in. So if I stayed in all the way to the top of that peak, that would have been 110%. If I was still holding it right now, I'd be up 75%. And I got out at 48. No regrets. These were all the stop losses. I was posting these live, too, on Twitter and everything. That's why I was so annoyed that people were talking shit. Because I kept posting as this was happening. I was like, all right, guys, I moved my stop loss up to here because I got this support right there. So after it came up, I had my stop loss down here. And then it shot up, bounced down, and bounced off of this line twice. Then I moved my stop loss up to that line as soon as this went green and started moving again because I saw this double bottom, 2 hourly candles. I moved it up to there. That was my new stop loss. That's where I said for advanced traders who want to get in and out, start playing around up here. But this was live trading. This is not like maybe sell at this point tomorrow. This was live. I didn't want any beginners to start going crazy trying to mimic what I was doing and lose money. So I specified advanced traders, try this. So double bottomed, set my stop loss here. It ran up, moved my stop loss here. It ran up, and then it came. This is my second trade. The first trade, I ran all the way up, and this was my final stop loss up top. Once it got up to this point, I was like, I can move up to a support that I see, but I didn't have any supports at that time without zooming out and looking back 2 weeks at this chart. So I was like, fuck it, I'm just moving it up. And I moved it up here. It was up at this point, right actually at that 618, or a little bit above it. So it was up at this point, and I was like, fuck it, I'm just placing my stop loss there to lock in the profit. I did. It came back all the way back down to here. Then I bought it again, rode it up, and then sold when it spiked up and hit the top on the second one right here. And then after that, I was out. I didn't trade this. Oh, no, sorry. Third trade was down here. This stop loss that I had spotted. There was a third small trade that I didn't remember until right now. I honestly had zero memory of it until I just saw this. And then after that, then I was out. By like after midnight or something. What time was this even? No, that was midday. Okay, yeah, never mind. This was like 4 o'clock in the morning. This was my last trade then at 6 o'clock in the morning, maybe? No, I was asleep by this point. I didn't do this trade then. I have to go back and check. Because I was done by 8 a.m. Yeah, I only traded these on these. I never... So this stop loss I had here, to be honest, I never even traded that. When it bounced down like that, I had this stop loss before this candle happened. And I never traded it after that. So I only made money on this initial run. And I missed all this.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. You only made it in that first beginning because I'm still in it. And
Yep.
I only moved it up to like that second advanced stop loss level.
Yep.
So
And that's the
I bought
beauty
it at
of
like
this.
788, and I'm still in it now.
Yep. Yeah, that, I didn't even really have that much data, just like as far back as I can go in the image I was looking at. I was asleep by this red candle. At 8, I went up to bed at like 7 something. So I think it was like the first red candle, and I was done. I wasn't in
It was
anything
that
after
first
that.
really tall wick that got you. I
Yep.
remember that for sure.
I went up on the first one, and then I got in on the second one. The first trade, I made 50%. The second trade, I made 7%. So together, that was 48% of my total investment, based on the amount that I invested in the second one plus the first one, came out to 48% total of my 3K. So I made pretty much $1,500 on 3K. If I had $7,000 in this thing, I'd have been buying my wife a purse today. Fuck it. But I didn't, and no regrets. Made 50%. I'm not going to complain.
Right.
But I was happy that I left the group with a great call that they could ride today. That was nice. And yesterday even.
What do you think? I mean, does it look like it's doing anything, or does it look like it's just going to end up sitting here and coming down? Because I've been staring at it, and I can't tell what it might do. And the chart doesn't go that far back.
Yeah, exactly. That's the downside to a lot of the tether pairings, is they don't go as far back. So the first one was 40, the second one was 7. Together, that was 48. So I had like 3K, 40%. The second one was like 4,200 that I made or whatever, and then that was 7%. So 40% on the first. I entered on the second one, 7%. Came out together to 48%.
Let's pick it probably matters what Bitcoin does.
Yeah. So Bitcoin, I had pretty much right here. Bitcoin! What you doing? Looking at Bitcoin.
Those guys are great.
I used to watch them for their workout videos. Back in the day when I was stupid enough to work out and take care of myself. Hey, don't bite too hard. Bitcoin. Getting that ripple. Get that XRP. You get that ripple. Then I'm gonna pair it up with some Bitcoin.
Those guys are doing comedy tours now.
Hodge Twins Crypto. I used to watch them and it was just Hodge Twins doing workout video. Now they all into that crypto. Working on my Hodge Twins impression.
I know the fuck you talking about, fool.
It's all about that Bitcoin. This was my max range. Originally, I was like, actually, it was this 0.5 fib. I thought that, so we were down here, bouncing off of this fib, or bouncing off of that Ichimoku top, and we dipped down into it, and I said, if we break that, I'm worried. It got down. And then I said we got like maybe a 50-50 shot. I had posted on Twitter that we make it out of there. And we got back out, and then I was confident. From that point forward, I was like, all right, my call was right. I saw the convergence of the EMAs. So we were coming down hard. There's Ichimoku traders who are like, oh, it's red or green. I don't care. I use it for support mostly. And I mean, if you look at this, when it came down, it got support off the top of the Ichimoku cloud. Over here, it was getting a lot of support from the Ichimoku cloud the entire way up. And when it wasn't, we were getting support from my EMAs. So with my dynamic supports, with those four, Ichimoku bottom, Ichimoku top, 2 EMAs, are really good at giving support. The wicks wick down, but I was getting candle body support for days off of the 55. But I had called this in this square here when we were converging on the EMAs. So this entire thing where we had all these great trades were all based off of this specific chart. Looking in this area with the EMAs converging and some stability right here, before we got this candle dipping into the Ichimoku cloud, before this dipped down into the Ichimoku cloud, I was confident. I saw the EMAs converging. Let's take a look at what I saw, and you'll see why I love my EMA strategy so much. I showed you on some alts how we get, I call it dancing EMAs, where they're going back and forth and reversing. 55s on top, 55s on bottom, 99s on bottom, 99s on top. And that's where they're dancing around. It's indecisive. Sometimes that could be a little bit of a bullish indicator. We don't get that with Bitcoin. So let me show you what we have. I can't even say Bitcoin. Fuck. Bitcoin! I can't even do it. I gotta send a link to this to Nas, to this time. He'll love it. I can't. I'm like trying so hard. Oh, God, that's so funny. I love them so much. They're hysterical.
Well, this is where you can like see the game happening, like right here with the fucking, especially where you have your first box drawn.
So this is the best.
Like Arthur Hayes that owns Arthur Hayes is like, he's got a lot of Bitcoin, so he's fucking he sells the shit down, he saves a little bit, and he buys that bottom, that first red wick, and then all the other little whales are trying to fight him. They fight it up, and then he'd already bought some more, so he sells it down further past hitting their stop losses, and he gets all their margin, he fucks them, and it goes up.
Yeah, you hear the guys on Whale Pool talking about that all the time. They love that shit. They sit there watching it all day. I'm too busy trading, but it is entertaining, and they can decipher it. They know what they're looking at a lot better than I do, or we do, because they stare at that level of shit all day. They're looking at the order books, looking for those individual whale plays and everything. What was I going to do? Oh, yeah. Let me go back and show you. All right, so I saw the convergence of the EMAs was the first thing I spotted. Now, with these alts, I can go back and show you how great my EMA strategy is. This huge bear run on ONT. We didn't even look at ONT yet. Long, extended bear run. Look at my EMAs, right? And then that's where they're dancing. Dancing EMAs. I always use that when indecisive, going up and down. Don't really know what's going to happen. Again, bearish. Over here, they were bullish for a little bit, dancing around again, and then again, really long bearish EMA trend, 55 on the bottom, dancing around again, and then eventually, because there was a long correction on ONT, holy shit. But the entire time of these strong corrections going down, and then it was bullish right here. Ever since it listed with Tether, it's been pretty much just going down. And ONT was like one of the best plays we had, me in this group, for probably ever. 212%, I called it. 218% rather. I called for 190 and we ended up getting 218. I made 218 on 2 trades on it. But anyway, you can see there's the EMAs. I get those dancing things a lot. You don't really see that on Bitcoin. So watch. When I saw this convergence here, I was like, you know what? Let me go back and see on this Bitcoin chart. Do I get those dancing EMAs a lot? Or is this a pretty confident sign that it's going to go a little bullish? At least enough where we're going to see the EMAs cross and we're going to see them diverge. Keyword for newer members, when they're converging and diverging, I talk about that all the time. Got converging EMAs on this chart. Go check it out. If I'm too busy to trade at the moment, I might just tell you, I was looking around for a second and Knowles has some diverging bullish EMAs and an Ichimoku cloud that's just gone green and giving us a lot of support. Guys, go check it out. If you're more familiar and you're a better trader, you can trade just off of that. You don't need me to tell you what to do, and you guys should all know by now. I don't do signals. I'm not telling you when to buy and when to sell. I'm giving you the tools you need to do this yourself. But I share my own trades with you. Huh? What? You got an audio loop like a motherfucker. And feedback.
Oh, it's Winnie.
Alright, Winnie, I gotta mute you, dude.
Winnie was going to try to talk. What happened when you tried to talk?
Yeah, that's what happens when Winnie tries to talk. Okay.
God doesn't want you to talk, Winnie.
You have my YouTube. You have my YouTube playing in the background. So your audio is coming through my phone, into my YouTube, out of your speakers, into your phone, out of my phone, and you're creating a loop. Could try it again if you're really going to actually speak, but you never do, so let's see. You going to try? You can do it. Use your words. Who's my little Winnie? Who's my little Winnie the Pooh? Who's my little Pooh Bear?
Come on, Winnie. You can do it.
All right, he's...
Try.
Yes, he's here. Great success. I like. Okay, well, let me show you this chart here, because this is, like, perfect. So, I saw the converging EMAs, and I was like, oh, man, is Bitcoin going to move up enough for us to get some strong alt movement right when I had all these other alts that looked like they were going to do well? And I went back, and I'm like, just look at this. When there's no dancing around the EMAs on Bitcoin. When they're converging, they cross, and the thing fucking plummets. And when it's converging for a cross in the other direction, like it was here, it didn't get close to crossing and then going back. And like I was saying before, I showed you on ONT, it's dancing around. They're crossing and crossing and crossing over a short window. The entire time that this was bullish, they were running straight up, and the second there was a reversal, it reversed, and it came down at that point. And then the next reversal, it reversed, and then it looked like maybe they were going to converge and dance around. They didn't. They stayed separate. They ended up diverging away, crossed again. You don't see this with alts. Like, with any alt where you're looking at my strategy, right here is like the tightest you get between crosses on Bitcoin. I went back weeks. I did not see, look at this big drop. The entire time it's going to be bearish. It wasn't until right here where I even saw it. I had to go back a month and a half to find any time that these EMAs did that, where it crossed and then crossed right back over. It happens, obviously, it always does, but it's pretty rare, like, compared to when you look at the alts. When you're looking at the alts, any of them, you'll see that happens all the time. And then you go back, other than that June 5th one I just showed you, I'm now going back into May. This one was kind of close between the two crosses, but not, it was close enough. It's still not really, I wouldn't say that's my dancing EMA setup, but, and then all the way, this entire way down, The EMAs were totally bullish. I was TAing that shit fucking till Sunday at that point. And then over here, they're jumping around a bit. It's really rare. I mean, that's 2 instances. The June 5th and back to April 9th. Nothing in May. There was one time where it was a little tight, but not really. So when I saw them converging now, I was like, all right, going back in time, it's pretty rare that the BTC does that. And you know what? Next time we see this same setup, BTC very well may have a similar setup. EMAs are really strong and converging, and it looks like it's going to move up off of a support, and then it collapses and breaks right down, and the EMAs cross right back. That might happen. It might crash right here. EMAs cross right down, and it goes down. But at this point in time, when I saw that, everything was just coming together beautifully. And I was like, you know what? That looks really bullish. We never see that on Bitcoin. Let me look at the alts. And then I looked at my USDT pairs, the ones I ended up calling, and they looked good themselves. So you had the alts looking like they were ready to break out. VET was pumped to the moon. There was some news and association with the coin. That's why I said I did well with the chart, but some of it's just luck. I'm not going to say, oh, I knew it was going to go up 80% or 110%. Nobody fucking knows that. I knew it was going to move. I thought that it was going to move up. I was pretty confident about it. To that extent, I couldn't have called. But I did show you guys that chart where I was like, oh, 35%, 40%, all the moves on that coin are big. So if it did move up, I knew it would be big. I just didn't know it would be this big. So some luck obviously comes into it. I don't try to take credit when credit's not due. When somebody was giving me a hard time on Twitter, I was like, no, if I'm wrong, I apologize. I say I was wrong. If I shouldn't take credit for something, I say I can't really take credit for this. With VET, I was confident it would break out. I went so far as to tell everybody, fuck ETC, VET is the trade. Look at this chart. Because I was confident. And I knew it was going to do well. And I ended up being right. I just didn't know it would do over 100%. Hey, no barkies. I didn't know it was going to do that much. But I'm very happy with how it turned out for everybody, obviously. I'm not going to complain that I happened to get a little lucky on that one. But overall, looking at all those alts, a lot of people ask me to do a video where I can show how that all came together. They want to be able to make a call like that. I'll tell you right now, you're going to need some luck. I needed some luck. But if you look at, I'll pull my Twitter over one more time. Specifically, like with the VET trade, I said that you thought, dude, wait, stop scrunching bags of Cheetos in the microphone, Winnie. Dude, I gotta mute you again. You're killing me. You lost your speaking privileges right after you learned how to speak. You lost your privileges. Your Cheeto bags. Okay, what was I saying? Yeah, so I showed you this one before, just to show you again. Like I said, really big potential with VET because of what it's done in the past. And that's all TA is. It's analysis of past trading activity. I always like to use the example of Noah. So I have no problem saying, you know what, I found a better strategy. 55 and 99 EMAs aren't really the best anymore. I think 56 and 102 are. I very well may say that. I just happen to love mine today because with all the data I've collected to this point in time, that is by far the best possible setup you can use for that strategy, and I've been right so far, and if I end up being wrong one day, I have no problem saying I was wrong. Let's improve things and make it better. I always use hurricane predictions by Noah. You know how, like, people keep asking me, what do you think the bottom is? And I'm like, well, I think we're going to go down on Bitcoin and bounce at 48.50 to 50.50 right there. We'll get a strong bounce for 1 to 2K. And somebody DM me and they said, if that actually happens and I can short it that much, I'll give you $1,000. No, he said, I'll give you half a Bitcoin tip. And I was like, thanks. But just so you know, this far out, I don't usually make calls like that. I'll give you a range and I'll say, once we get closer, I'll give you my new thoughts. I very well may change my analysis. And some people are like, well, I want to know what you think now. Anybody who says they know what's going to happen in 2 weeks from now is lying. That's bullshit. They don't. Nobody does. That's just too far out. So I always use the example of NOAA, NOAA, the National Oceanographic Administration Association, when they predict hurricanes. For those in the States, maybe people who aren't in the States, they always have a cone of uncertainty, and they use that term on the news an annoying amount. The weatherman on TV will always say, well, with the cone of uncertainty and these spaghetti models, and you want to reach in the TV and punch them in their fucking face. It's so annoying. But it's right, and what they do is they give you this cone of where they think the hurricane's going to go. It can go anywhere in that cone. When it's 5 days out, the cone's wide as fuck. It doesn't know if it's going to Puerto Rico or Florida. But as it gets closer and then it's only 2 days out, the cone starts very tight and then it gets wider. So at that point, they know it's going to Florida. But after it crosses Florida, they don't know if it's going to Mexico or to Texas because it's really wide at that point. And that's just how your TA should be, just how your analysis should be. Looking out over a few hours or a day, if you're looking at hourly charts, if you're good at TA, you should have a pretty good idea of where things are going to go, as long as there's no crazy dump or manipulation or maybe some news like ETF rejected and then everything crashes. Your TA is going to be wrong, but based purely on the chart, if the chart holds and there's no outside variables that change things, you're going to gain more accuracy as you get closer to that target date. So don't feel like me or anybody else for that matter knows what's going to happen in 2 weeks. I certainly don't, and anybody who says they do doesn't. I've been saying for months we're going to correct to 3 to 4K. Only now am I saying I think it's going to be probably 3K. And we're maybe, 3 months closer to that happening, and I still don't know when we're going to correct down that low. I still think it's going to happen, but I still, until very recently, have not been able to say that I'm pretty sure. I really think it's going to be down closer to 3K because I honestly had no idea. I thought 3 to 4 somewhere. It might hold at 4. There's a lot of psychological barriers at play where people might just jump back in, but my data has changed since then. I've evaluated the market. I looked at things. I've talked to people. And I just don't think there's that many people willing to jump in at 4K anymore. So I've adjusted my model. But in any case, overall, TA lesson of the day, think of hurricanes. Because that's what Bitcoin does. It just destroys lives like a fucking hurricane. That's an easy way to remember the analogy.
Yeah, no, that analogy is actually fantastic, too.
Isn't it?
Because even last year, I live down in Florida. We were supposed to get hit by a massive hurricane. And at the last second, it shifted, hit North Florida and Georgia.
Yeah.
So if you just keep that scope in mind, that you need a margin of error regardless.
How annoying is it when the guys on TV say cone of uncertainty and spaghetti models? How fucking annoying is that?
Yeah, no, it's really annoying. Because it could go from the tip of Florida or all the way up to South Carolina.
Yep.
Well, that doesn't help. It's everything.
Yep.
Yeah, well, we'll find out about 18 hours before it
yeah, exactly. But they always say that, well, we have these spaghetti models, and it's like the weather guys who weren't smart enough to make it into NOAA love the fact that they get to use these models, and they don't stop talking about it. I mean, I guess it's good. It warns people. It's just so funny. That's what they keep focusing on. Like Chad, whatever his name is, on CNN, all these guys are like, and these spaghetti models. I'm like, just...
Yeah.
Come on,
yeah.
dude. You don't sound smart by calling them spaghetti.
Yeah,
not to mention, you don't sound smart by calling it spaghetti models. You would sound smart by saying, here's a topographic map with a meteorological analysis. That would make you sound smart, not fucking, oh, it's like spaghetti. That's what a 2-year-old would call it, you fucktard. So anyway, but the other thing that I love about that analysis is I always tell people, like Phil Cohn, I've learned a lot from him, and I respect him a ton. I learned a ton from him early on when I started learning this shit. So I would never say anything bad about him. But one of the things that I've heard him say a lot is like, I don't really pay attention to FA. I'm a technical trader. I care about TA. And I have a big problem with that, especially when people listen to you to learn from you. Just like meteorologists predicting hurricanes, you shouldn't turn away any data. I don't care how irrelevant you may think it is. If there's some data out there to work into your analysis as a scientist, I consider myself a data scientist doing this. I'm a network engineer and an IT. I'm a computer scientist. But I've learned in my professional career, in college, and back in elementary school, you use as much data as you can when you're conducting any sort of scientific analysis or any data-based analysis. When I took statistics in college, that's all we would do, was just run data, run models all day. And you never want to say, I'm not going to include this data. You never hear scientists who are doing some study to see if a drug causes cancer. Well, there were some old people, and I didn't really like them, so we just forgot about them. We're not going to really use the data from the old people. Our research is about people from 10 to 30 years old. If you're over 30, we don't really care. You don't hear that because it makes no sense. You need all the data you could possibly get to get the best picture of what's going on. You need FA, you need TA. You need to consider people. You need to consider psychology. And the reason I say people is because for a while, I talked about this a lot. Roger Ver is kind of a fucking lunatic. He's a narcissist. I think he would kill his own mother to watch Bitcoin Cash succeed. The guys at Bitcoin go to work every day, and that's pretty much it. They have no personal investment. They may love crypto and love Bitcoin, but Roger Ver's entire life as a person, his self-worth, his value, his success or failure is 100% dependent on what Bitcoin Cash does. I factor his personality, his narcissism into my analysis of Bitcoin Cash. I know it sounds crazy and out of the box. Sometimes you have to think out of the box, and I do. And I think that Bitcoin Cash will outperform Bitcoin to an extent and will probably catch up to be worth like half of a Bitcoin, because I think that guy will stay up 6 days in a row if there's a way he can gain an edge over Bitcoin. And people who say he bought Bitcoin.com and that was a dick move. Oh, sorry, it was unfair. You think if Apple could buy Samsung because some idiot at Samsung forgot to renew the domain, Apple's not going to go buy Samsung.com and redirect it to the Apple Store? Nice fucking try. Zero chance. The guy at Samsung gets his ass fired, and Apple is now the largest dealer in the world of electronics, and Samsung completely fucking disappears into the shadows. No more competition. There's nothing wrong with Bitcoin Cash and Roger Ver getting the Bitcoin Twitter handle because Bitcoin's guys were too dumb to renew it, and the Bitcoin.com domain because the employees at Bitcoin were too dumb to renew it. Just like Jeb Bush, his employees on his presidential campaign were too stupid to renew JebBush.com, so Donald Trump bought it and redirected it to Donald Trump's website. And I hate fucking Donald Trump. I think he's a fucking child, a grown, overgrown, Cheeto-ingesting child, but I respect the shit out of his campaign for doing what had to be done. They didn't say, hey, Jeb, you forgot to renew your website. You should go and do that. They bought that shit and redirected it to his site, and everybody who went to Jeb's site to make a donation was like, oh, I guess I'll donate to Donald Trump now. Suckers. I have no problem with Bitcoin Cash swiping that shit out from under Bitcoin's nose, and you shouldn't either. So just because Roger Ver is a dick and a psychopath doesn't mean you should think twice about getting into Bitcoin Cash. It's going to kick fucking ass, and he's the reason why. And if you don't factor him into your analysis, you're not paying attention.
I feel like a lot of the time you should just take emotions out about how you feel about a coin and then just ride the profits up if you can.
Never
like
include emotion.
Well,
Emotion's horrible. Yeah. It's all data. That's a topic, right? It's all data. Scientists don't get emotional. If they do, that calls into question their judgment. People who were investigators, investigating things, guys, are now getting fired from the FBI because their personal feelings were known about their political affiliations. Take personal shit out of it. Don't let it get personal. Don't have emotion. You're trying to make money. I'm trying to make money in this market. Other people have to lose money for me to make money. I'm fine with that because that's the way it is. I'm not going to just... Somebody posted like, just think, every time you make a Lambo, it's because somebody else loses a Lambo. Then they should get better at what we're doing because I've worked really fucking hard to get as good as I am. So if they're willing to work as hard as me, let them have their fucking car. Otherwise, it's mine, bitch. Fuck you.
Well, I see it as
shit.
It's going to be here whether or not I am. So, I mean... If you lose your money, it's because you didn't do it well.
I'm not going to run like a pump and dump scam. We're not going to do that. I would never do... I'm not going to do anything unfairly, but as a match, like, it's skill. Tiger Woods is going and playing golf. He just worked his ass off and got back to the top, and he looks amazing right now. He's probably going to go win a major. I wouldn't be surprised if he wins a Masters. That's skill. Nobody's going to be like, oh, it's kind of unfair because the guy didn't work as hard. You should have worked harder. I'm not using steroids, just like he's not using steroids. I'm using skill, I'm using practice, I'm using time, and I'm using them to my advantage. And every one of you guys can use that too. There's no reason why you can't. People out there who like say, that it's unfair because I'm losing and other people are winning, then don't do this. If you're not good at it, Tiger Woods shouldn't play golf if he's not good at it. If you have to use steroids, don't fucking play baseball. Play something else. Do something else you're good at. If you have to cheat, then get the fuck out. But if you're able to play without cheating, kick everybody else's ass, then you're the master, and who the hell am I to put you down?
Hell yeah.
Unless it's the 1990s and everybody's...
Yes, yeah, then just pumping up all day. That never happened. People
there was a couple guys.
I went to Arizona State, and if I tell somebody I went to Arizona State, they're like, Barry Bonds went there. I'm like, I don't know, Reggie Jackson went there, though. I don't know anything about Barry Bonds, but Reggie Jackson, yeah, man. Just pretend like it never happened. I hate Barry Bonds. I hear them.
Jackson was probably doing cocaine.
Yeah, but that's totally fine, dude. Doc Gooden. Oh man, David Cohn and Doc Gooden used to go like smoke crack in the dugout and then go out and pitch a fucking no hitter. Those guys were beasts.
That guy But
Yeah.
like a little cocaine before an at-bat.
Having a panic attack on the mound while trying to pitch a perfect game might be a little hard to concentrate. Oh, a little cocaine never hurt anybody. But yeah.
The one guy who threw a no-hitter on LSD, though.
Who was that?
Now that's impressive. Holy shit.
Oh, yeah, I know who you're talking about, the baseball player. I forget what his name is.
I was on LSD and thought I threw a no-hitter.
Yeah, right.
I think they actually have like a documentary about the dude on Netflix.
You know what would be really funny, though? Imagine if some dude's like on acid and just runs off the field like, yeah, I threw a no-hitter. And guys like, dude, it's like 15-0 them. What the hell are you talking about?
Doc Ellis.
Doc Ellis? Seriously?
Doc, yep.
I never heard that. How have I never heard that? I'm like a baseball fanatic.
I'll post a link to an article.
I just knew about it because it had to do with LSD.
I knew who he was, too. I never heard that before. Maybe I did and I dismissed it or something. But that's crazy. How the hell did I never fucking know that? That's really bizarre.
I posted it in Dark Side Chat.
I already looked it up, but yeah, that's crazy. All right, well, back to crypto. Well, the last 15 minutes of crypto turned into a self-help seminar, but it's true. It's all that shit applies. Emotion out of it. You got to factor in all that data, just like the hurricane scientists do. Like, they're trying to save lives, so they're factoring in everything they can. If the temperature is 2 degrees colder, they're not going to just dismiss that. If the air temperature is 2 degrees warmer, they're not going to dismiss that. If there's a little bit more rain in Russia today than there was yesterday, that's probably getting built into their model about where a hurricane on the other side of the world is going to go, because all that data is helpful. So, like, Phil and other guys might dismiss a particular kind of data. David, whatever the fuck, Gawkin Jew, says, I'm Jewish for new members who don't know, so I can make Jew jokes as much as I want. Just like our black members can drop the N-bomb. Totally permitted. You guys can make Jew jokes, too. It's all cool. As long as they're funny. I posted posted that thing of some anti-Semitic piece of shit who was talking shit and calling them fucking yellow kike or whatever. And I posted it, and this was my reply. I said, I know me and this guy are dirty Jews. We're trash. We control all the money and we get the best jobs. We know this. We love Jew jokes, really, but they gotta be funny. Gotta at least make me laugh. Holocaust is almost a no-go. Depends on the comedy level. Otherwise, and then I spoke Hebrew, which essentially means fuck you, you non-Jew piece of shit. A couple people were responding to me in Hebrew. It's kind of funny because some dude sent him this DM like Jewish garbage, slanted eye, all this fucked up shit. So yeah, I love jokes. You guys know I have an epic sense of humor. I'm like the funniest Twitter account as far as I'm concerned in crypto. I better be. I haven't found any competition, but make any fucking horrible, rancid, racist joke, and I'll laugh my ass off at it. Look, I got stopped out on one of my top quantum. No, I did. Look at that, guys. Look at this. I'm gonna zoom in and show you. I just got stopped out. No regrets. It's fine. The bottom of that red section, that was my stop loss. I got stopped out by a penny and 2 pennies. 32, 30, oh, whoops. Hold on. My stop loss is at 849, and I got stopped at 832, so 1.5 cents.
Wow.
Out of 489 cents, 1.5 of them stopped me out. And like I said, no regrets. It's all good. I have half my position in there. I made profit on that one. I ended up getting stopped out with about 10% profit, and I'm still up 7% on my other 50%, and we'll see where it goes. If it moves up from here, great. If it crashes down and I get stopped out, it is what it is. I just made money. Not going to complain. I'm making profits. It's absolutely insane to complain. So, yeah, back to our topic, just to close that out. Using all the data you can. We went over, like, people, like Roger Ver's personality. Include that in your analysis of Bitcoin Cash. I think it's going to do well for the reasons I specified. The guy's entire self-worth as a man is dedicated to this one particular thing. He's not letting it fail. There's zero chance that narcissistic fuck is going to let that thing fail. I don't care what he has to do. The guys who work at Bitcoin are going to get up in the morning, go to work, and go home. Roger Ver is going to stay there for 6 days straight if he has to, if he can gain even the slightest bit of an edge over Bitcoin. And I don't care if you don't like him personally. That's just a fact. Think about it. Using that analysis, that's something that most people don't do, and I don't understand why. I want you guys to use everything, whether it's a single person like that, or how a particular team is, or how the market is trading something, or psychology. Do you think people are going to buy in? Do you have any friends? Like, I have a few friends who ask me if it's time to get back into crypto yet, but not that many. But I have a few friends who left crypto and have asked. If I had 7 or 8 or 9 friends who were like, dude, now is the time to get back in, I would start thinking, you know what? Maybe we're seeing a turnaround because I'm using that data. I'm using my friends. That data is a very valuable asset that I'm factoring into my analysis. It could be people that you hear talking on Twitter. It could be Google search results. If you go to Google Analytics and see how many people are searching how to buy Bitcoin, you'll see that it's absurdly low right now and it's getting lower. It's not turning around anytime soon. If you go back and factor that into the analysis of the price and look at the price action, the price was skyrocketing as long as the searches for how to buy Ripple or how to buy Bitcoin were skyrocketing. Once people stopped searching how to buy Ripple, nobody was buying Ripple anymore because the only people who were already in this game, and those people are just buying and selling and keeping the market stagnant. Things like that, outside variables, are critical to your analysis. So, like Phil says, he doesn't use FA. I don't like that, and I don't want any of you guys to ever think like that. You should always use whatever analysis you can get your grubby little hands on. Everything. A guy's personality, a single employee. FA, TA, it doesn't matter what it is. FA, TA, psychology, and personality. Those are the 4. People. Well, not necessarily personality, because that's built into psychology. People, your friends, Roger Ver, any of that. Psychology, what you think the market's doing, people are doing at large. Do you feel a turnaround? Do people you're talking to, does the group feel a turnaround? That psychology is critical. FA and TA. Those 4 things, that's it. That's all the data you need, and anything else that's not included in them, fuck it, throw it in there too, because that's my whole point. Every ounce of data you can possibly come up with needs to be in there, factored in. So, yeah, that's that topic.
Well, that's why it's possible that the fucking ETF coming up in September, if that gets delayed again, which that's probably the most likely thing.
It will.
It goes to what? Yeah, till March. It'll be till March now. Everybody knew it was going to get delayed the first time, yet some fucking dumbasses were probably buying in at the top thinking, well, maybe there's a chance. And then it fucking...
I wouldn't even say everybody knew it was getting
delayed.
delayed.
They got fucking dumped on hard, and that's why their shit sold off hard. You just knew everything was going to crash for a little while.
I wouldn't even say everybody thought that at first, because I was saying... Yep, and we all stayed out because we knew that was going to happen, because we pay attention, because we use all the data we have at our disposal, and they didn't. They ignored a lot of data. Pay attention to Twitter. Pay attention to Facebook if you're in Twitter groups, wherever you have to. Pay attention to whatever you have to pay attention to get as much data as you can. Oh, I'm plugging in my phone under the desk.
There's some more ETFs too that have almost been going down.
There's a whole chart. Somebody posted, I reposted it. Somebody had a really great chart that I retweeted. Let me see if I can find that. It wasn't mine. I gave him credit.
They're probably important because some of those are just cash ETFs. They're not like real. It's not like physical. They're not commodity.
So we'll have to look up some of them just to make sure we're looking at the right ones. But
imagine the FUD they can create if one of those just gets flat rejected. They can just be like, yeah, bam. Like the Winklevoss appeal. They use that shit pretty good.
Yeah. I don't know how those dudes are still even in fucking crypto. Here we go.
Like some old ass shit. They just like, yep.
Bam.
Post some shit.
Yeah, exactly. There's a bunch we don't even know about. There's all the Direxion ones. There's a bunch. I don't know which is the Winklevoss. Is that the CBOE one? Yeah. Rejected. Theirs did get rejected, Winklevoss.
Yeah, the Winklevoss. Yeah. Let's see. What are the next dates? The Winklevi.
Yeah, the Winklevi. So this has final deadline is 9/21/2018. They can extend that though, right?
9/15 is one.
9/15, 9/21, or 9/20 or 8/23, 9/15. The only one that has a final deadline is Van Eck. Van Eck is in 2019. The other ones have a final deadline in September. I think they can extend that though. They can still postpone it.
Well, they can appeal it, so they can all those up rejected, just like the Winklevoss ones, and then they get a chance to appeal. Like maybe some shit changes magically.
Yeah. This guy might have posted an updated one.
They could start smashing it down with any one of these. The Bears fucking smash the shit down, right? You know, and then when they hit the 29th, then it's delayed, and it could get really smashed then down to 3,000.
Yeah, which is what I've been calling for months. And that's the thing. I use all the data. I didn't know these ETFs would exist. I've been saying 3,000 to 4,000 for months because the TA took me there. Now look at where the timing works out. Like now we have this scenario where this news has just been thrown in our lap. This is all it takes. These things got rejected. We're down at 3,000. And then I'm not going to go out and say, oh, see, my TA was right. I'm not just going to claim that was it. There are a lot of variables. I'm going to show off like a motherfucker because I've been saying it for months. But if somebody says, like, your TA couldn't have called this was based on the ETFs, I'd be like, yeah, no, it was. But the TA did predict it, but there was an outside variable that wasn't yet there. The TA said this is going to happen, and this is how it works out. Just like I called these alts, and then these news came out, and this alt run happened. I didn't know that was going to happen for a fact, but it looked like we were going to move up for a multitude of reasons, and then some outside variables made it so. You don't have to know all those things are going to happen. Like, nobody knows about all this shit, and I don't think anybody tries to say they know about it when some...
But if you're a fucking big whale and has lots of money, just read the book by Ryan Holiday. Trust Me, I'm Lying. Memoirs of a Media Manipulator.
Yeah.
Like, any one of that, like that's some bullshit ProShares ETF, which is a cash ETF. Like, you look up what it's trying to do. Like, if they could just get it, if it gets rejected and they can just get it posted, like, it might not matter. Fuck. Like, it might have been the most dumb thing ever, and it shouldn't have hyped anyone up or scared anybody because it was just complete bullshit.
But nobody checks it out.
They get it on a blog, and then they pay somebody to get it on Twitter. And they get the right person to say something or post something, right? And you're a big whale, and you go short, leveraged against Bitcoin right at the moment when you know that shit's going to get hit. You're making money.
Yep, we got 5 days.
Everybody's a bunch of scared bitches. Yeah, 5 days, especially if the market stays hot right now.
Oh yeah. I don't think it's going to, but I mean let's go back and look. So, because we were talking about it, I originally thought, all right, so this was the move up. This was why I originally thought that. I saw the convergence. EMA is about to cross. That never happens on Bitcoin. It's very, very rare where that happens and it doesn't mean it. I thought that this would be the top because that was such a strong resistance before where like all these wicks were stopping, like right where this 0.5 and this 236 were. But now that we're past it and now that we're talking about this and I'm seeing the continuously diverging EMAs and the still strong increasing Ichimoku, the technicals right now are not showing me bearish signals. Huh?
How many days to get to 6,800, though? Think about the timing.
Yeah, that's the major resistance that I had from a little while ago. I'm sure other people have called that now. I've had this line on here for like fucking 2 months, but I'm not pulling hairs. I'm not going to hate on any other analyst. But oh, no, okay, I will. I'll hate on the assholes. But some people just started calling 6,800. I had 68 from God knows how long ago. Unless we get some strong pumps, if we remain on pace, just roughly, that would be probably around the 20th. And we need to get to the 23rd. No, well, we have to get a corrective wave, right? So we're going to come back down. So if this was like do an Elliott wave count, and you could kind of see 1, 2, this would be the end of wave 3. Then we would come down and go at it again, right? So we would have 1, 2, 3. That's not really high enough for 3, but let me adjust it.
Not if it's an ABC. It just depends on what they decided to make it.
Yeah, I mean, say we were to run like this, even though, no, that would be okay. 3 is plenty longer than 1 in that case, and it's still longer than 5. That's fine. This is a valid count. So if this were to work, I don't do that much Elliott wave training stuff because I'm not an expert. I just kind of use it as a tool, but I'm not nearly as good as a lot of the guys teaching it. That's why I don't really teach it as much. I'll teach you how I use it. I'm happy to, but I don't try to pretend to be an expert in anything I'm not, as you guys know, and I'm not an expert in Elliott wave. I'll just tell you right now. Sometimes guys will call me out, learn Elliott wave and read a book. I'm like, dude, how much money have you made this week in crypto? Just fuck yourself. This is how I do it. You got a problem with it? You go write a fucking book and I'll read it. But till then, shut the fuck up. Yeah, this is a valid count. As long as wave 3 is not the shortest, it's fine. And it's not going up that much, but this is fine. This would be... Yeah, that's valid. As long as wave 5 isn't more than 10%. That's totally fine. So, assuming it played out this way, and it could play out other ways too, but just assuming that off this bottom is a fresh 5-wave impulse wave, then we would have 1, 2, this would be wave 3, which would hit on the 20th. Then we would retrace a bit, which should be a sharp retracement. The second one wouldn't be, this is the 22nd at noon. We could stretch out that out just to make it fit what we're talking about. The 23rd, it's not unreasonable to have that retest. So it might test, come back down, and then retest 68, and then right around there. The timing could work out really well. All it takes is this to be a little bit off, and we're perfect. Because even just this, I was pretty on without having to manipulate this. If I gave this a little bit more space, if it did work out this way, and this is a total possibility, it could go up 20th, 21st, it bounces off of the 68, comes back down, finds support in this region, right where I had this resistance in this general trading area. It could bounce off of there and move back up, hit 68 again, right when those ETFs get rejected on the 23rd. The first round of them, which is the ProShares ones right here, 8/23 is the final deadline. So if they get final word, it could very easily work out that way. And if it does, we're going to be way ahead of everybody else for spotting it.
Yeah, like as soon as someone posts that, just fucking don't try to be fucking around making plays. You'll get stopped out.
The fact of the matter is, nobody's posted this yet that I've seen. And between me and you, it's me sex for those who don't know, we've just come up with this potential model that could be pretty fucking awesome if that were to play out and we had a head start on that. And again, I'm not saying like, oh, that's definitely going to happen, because I don't fucking know. But I can give you a strategy, which is, since we know that that's a possibility and it's something you want to keep in the back of your mind, stick to USDT pairs and have stop losses on everything. And if it does collapse right now or 2 days from now, then you will be protected. And if the entire market just goes down 15%, 30%, you're not going to lose shit because you're in USDT, so your stop losses will take you right back into Tether because you're using ONT, VET, nulls, ETC, Quantum. You're sticking to those USDT pairs, and Binance gives us a ton of them. The reason why all my 5 for 5 picks were all the ones that they were is because they're paired with USDT. There might have been some plays that did better, but that chart that I posted that showed the Binance top ones, how those were... Well, I'm not going all the way up there. Fuck it. My calls was because I stuck to those because I was only sticking to USDT because I didn't have a high level of confidence that I was necessarily right. I thought I was right, but on the outside chance I was wrong, I only got into those USDT pairs, and I had a stop loss on every one. So the second I got stopped out of ONT, or the second I got stopped out of ETC or VET, all my money was back in tether, and it was safe. And it didn't matter what happened to the rest of the market, I wouldn't be able to take a loss. Is that, if it wasn't on one single 15-minute candle, if I pull, two of them, if I pull that down to a 5-minute, maybe there's 4 candles that were up above there, if that. Let's see. Come on, load, fucker. Alright, it's frozen. Oh, sorry, let me go back. So, when you're looking at the hourly, these are 2 5-minute candles. If I went down to the 3-minute, I bet there's still just 1 or 2 of them, or 2, there would have to be 2 or more, but it would probably be 2. There was barely any trading at that high when it spiked up. It was over the course of 60 or 90 seconds. Right here, this is a 3-minute candle. These 2 barely made it above. The one in the middle really did, and that really shot up, and that's a single 3-minute candle. So would you invalidate a nice geometric formation that has 1, 2, 3, 1, 2... No, there's really only 2 on the bottom so far. Well, actually, I could probably extend this out a little further, maybe. But it's a decent-looking ascending triangle. Would you be like, nah, I'm not really going to use that because it's not really valid because it broke out above over here? That was total pump action. That was people buying in. That wasn't natural and organic trading. That was everybody trying to get into this play that some genius named Jesse, whose handle is Darth Crypto, called. And everyone's rushing to get into it and pumping up the price at that last second. You have to be able to sometimes be like, I'm not including that candle. Fuck it. And if there's some purist out there who's some charting purist, and he's like, nope, you always have to include every candle, wick. I'm like, sorry, I don't, and I do better than you. So I don't care what you say. Don't let people tell you have to do this or that. It's whatever works best for you. And if your data, if you have a model that works, then it works, and they can't really say shit about it. On the other hand, I've also pointed out, this is hourly, so when you have support in an area, have this right here, hourly candle, comes down and bounces right off of that support. But if you zoomed into the 5-minute, there might be 12 5-minute candles that bounce off that one support. But in this case, when you have that one huge wick, chances are if you go zoom into it, you're going to see that was all confined to a single 1-minute or 3-minute candle. And you could just be like, all right, I don't have to, I'm not going to invalidate my Elliott wave count by including that wick and making my wave 1 too high where wave 4 retraces into it or something like that. You need to be able to have, this is your data. You have control over it to an extent. I mean, you have to include everything, but you don't have to include things that shouldn't be included. You just need to use your own judgment. But yeah, so this is forming, it's consolidating a bit. I'll see. Right now, it's a little higher. If it doesn't get any lower than this trend resistance, the trend line support, it could indicate another potential leg up, especially if Bitcoin holds. There's really no reason to see these alts come down. Look how much VET has gone up. Hourly RSI is not overbought at all. It's back down. People know why, who've been in the group for a while. I talk about this all the time. When people complain oh, it's doing the Bart Simpson again, it's moving sideways, that person doesn't know what they're talking about. That's a good thing. Because you can have an order here with a stop loss down here, and you're not getting a deep corrective wave, so you're not getting stopped out, but you're still correcting. You're doing a sideways correction. When you get a flat correction in Elliott wave, that's a good thing. You're getting an ABC that's never dropping down really below. C's not dropping down below B, unless it's an expanded flat, which it goes slightly, but that's a good thing. If you're moving with some sort of sideways correction, like an ABCDE triangle correction is another Elliott wave formation, where it would be usually a symmetrical triangle, but it could be in this type of setup too. But you're moving sideways, but all your indicators are still resetting. RSI is coming back down, stochastic's coming back down, MACD is coming back down. Everything is coming back down from their outer limits, and when you have those oscillator indicators like RSI, stochastic, having them reset is critical because you feel like when they're at the edges, you're just not comfortable judging that they're going to make another move because it's just too high, it's oversold, it's overbought. Well, now we get to come back down, and we still haven't really come down. We're right at the top, and we haven't really needed to retrace at all on the actual price action for the RSI to come back down into fair trading ground. So sideways is a good thing. you're still correct. If you're moving sideways and the RSI is still moving up, that's not a good thing. But that very rarely happens. But just something that I figured I'd mention. So yeah, I think vet, for those who are in it, could still move up. I think it would probably be good at this point. Again, I'm not telling you what to do. What I would do, seeing the support off of this wick right here, rejection for this wick, rejection for this wick, the candle body here, it's all trading right in this range. So you sort of have a horizontal support right there. And you have a trend line support moving up with this ascending triangle, potential ascending triangle. I only really have 2 points of contact on the bottom. I don't have a huge level of confidence in it right now until it makes a move here. But the fact that this is like a horizontal support, I would place a stop loss below here. You're locking in all your profit. And if it does drop and stop you out, you really only sacrificed from there to the top. It's 15%. If you've been in since the beginning, out of 100%, sacrifice 15. Fuck it. Take the 15 so I can go to sleep knowing that no matter what, I'm making 85%. And if I get stopped out, I made 85%. And if it breaks out from here, I might make another 30%. And I'll wake up and move my stop loss up again.
Wait, I think I'm having a trouble with the stream. It's not loading in for some reason. And it keeps flying. But, I keep getting, like, glimpses of it.
It does say that. Hold on.
Same, yeah. It's like...
It was, like, loading in and out. And I was like, maybe it'll come back. And it hasn't.
For how long?
The last maybe minute or two while you're talking about BET.
That's not that bad then. All right, let me see if it'll...
Just the last 3 hours.
We've actually just been staring at blank screens.
I'd be so fucking mad because this is like the best live stream I've ever done.
It's been a peep show, you know.
Oh, good. My camera's on. Sweet. I love to. All right.
I was picking up what you were putting down, but I wasn't sure where you were talking about putting your stop loss because I put mine right at the 1356.
All right, hold on a sec. Let me check something. Let me just get this fixed first. One thing at a time.
Yeah, bombers.
Let's ping Google DNS. All right, I'm getting out. No connection to YouTube. Is YouTube down? Let's ping that fucker. YouTube.com.
I don't think so, 'cause I have a different live stream up.
Pinging YouTube's resolving. It's kind of slow, though. Hold on. Video.
I know you're talking about Bitcoin.
Talk about that Bitcoin. Live. Not receiving enough video to maintain video manager. Stream complete. Alright, let me check my firewall. No, OBS, which is a streaming software, is barely putting anything out, but I'm getting...
Yeah, OBS doesn't take up that much.
Yeah, it doesn't require that much bandwidth, but let me just do a quick test and check a couple of tests.
That's what it is.
I don't get
I
it.
saw your ONT call.
Yeah, I got fucking... I'm going 7 proxy servers. I'd like to see somebody try. Actually, please, I'm not inviting you guys. Don't try to hack me. I don't really feel like fighting you off. I do.
Maybe that's why it's slow.
I do it for a living. I want to be able to just come home and go to bed.
All that security could be slowing it down.
No, I'm getting my whole fucking shit is slow. I gotta reboot my modem. Fuck. I can log into it though. That's why I love DOCSIS 3.1. Alright, everything's working on it. Let me check my signal. I like being able to do everything without getting my ass out of the chair. 41 decibels downstream, upstream rather. Alright, so downstream power level, 1 decibel, signal to noise ratios, a little on the low side. Shit. I have a lot of unearned code words, or uncorrectable code words. I think I gotta reboot this thing. I don't want to get up. Alright, hold on. I'm on wireless too, which sucks. I'm not hardwired in this office. I gotta run a wire over here, or I gotta run a long wire to the other room, which I don't want to do either. Oh, that's fine. All right, firewall time. Come on.
I'm telling you, bro, it's all the security.
No, I forgot the password to my firewall for a second. I have a lot of them. I have a lot of strings of characters in my head, and sometimes I mix them up. This one is just I love big cock, so I should remember it. But that's one of everything.
You forgot the numeric in there, the 69.
Oh, I thought you're right. I also forgot the color designator. It's 2 for black. So, well, big 2 black cock 69. All right, let's see. I'm using BitTorrent, maybe. This whole thing would be avoided if I just got up and just rebooted my modem, I bet. I just don't want to get up. What's the point of being an expert at something if you can't put it to use?
Maybe that would be faster.
Holy shit, I got a lot of... Somebody is trying to fucking DDoS me, I think. Way too much data connections inbound. I mean, Alright, I'll be right back.
I don't know what that means, but alright.
I hear you, I'll be right back.
DDoS attack.
What is that?
It's basically like a swarm attack on a